Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
To our new passengers, aloha and welcome aboard.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ResortLoop.com podcast. I'm your host, Bob Coller, and if you're wondering why the audio sounds so bad, my co-host, the brains behind the podcast, is not here today. He is on a research assignment. He wishes it was a research trip, but it's just a research assignment. But I am lucky enough to have my beautiful wife, Patty, as a co-host tonight. So, or today, whenever you're listening to this. So, because Tim wasn't here, I thought I finally have a chance to do the podcast I want to do. And when I invited my wife to do it with me, she said, no, we're going to do it this way. So,
now, you don't have to tell that. That's the part you can leave out.
Yeah, I'll edit that out. Don't worry about it. So, go ahead, Patty. Introduce yourself and tell us what the topic of the podcast will be tonight.
Well, my name is Patty Coller, and as Bob said, I'm Bob's wife. We've been married for 15 years, and for this podcast, I wanted to take on the subject of taking a family to Disney World with children of different ages, because if I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times that, I want to wait till my child's old enough that he'll remember or she'll remember the experience, or, well, I have a teenager, there's really not much for them to do there. And we've taken our kids to Disney World all through, raising them, and there is something to do for children of all ages there. And so I wanted to address that, taking your family to Disney World, and also to maybe address some of the people that might be reluctant to go, like I was, Bob, if you remember, 15 years ago,
right,
the first time.
Right, because you had been to Disney World before, and the thought of going back to Disney World was not something that appealed to you, and especially because we had our daughter was only 8 months old.
Right, she was 8 months old, and my first time to Disney World was it was a real, fly-by-night trip. We didn't stay inside the parks. And I don't know all the jargon that Bob and Tim uses, so you'll have to...
She means on property.
On property, that's right. I think I stayed at a Red Roof Inn, which was very nice. It was very clean. It was nice, but it was, it was a hike back to the park, and we only went to one park, and it just wasn't what I had imagined. So, having said that, Bob wanted to take me and our daughter to Disney World on a trip to Florida. That wasn't even our destination, right? Remember, we were going to the beach.
Right. We started off in, if those that have listened to other podcasts, I said, we started off in Daytona Beach, and we were just cutting across Florida to go to Clearwater. We were going to go to the Gulf Coast. We had seen the Atlantic. We wanted to see the Gulf Coast.
Right.
And do you remember how wonderful the drive from Daytona
with the teething baby? Yes, I do. I do remember that. So you can understand my disposition at the time was, oh my gosh, I just want to get to the beach. He wants to make a stop in Disney World. Are you kidding me? That was what was going through my head. I didn't voice that at the time. But anyway, long story short, we did arrive at Disney World, and just driving into the resort area was breathtaking. It was nothing like I had remembered, for one thing, and of course we pull up to the.
We started at the Grand Floridian. I wanted to.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, we started at the Grand Floridian. Because
and I'm thinking, we don't have the money for this. What are you doing?
Like I said, if you want to get somebody to go to Disney World, treat them first class the first time, because after that, then the costs kick in, and then you're staying at the value resorts. But I wanted to stay at the Grand Floridian to impress you and to impress upon you the beauty and elegance of Disney.
Which I would have never used the word elegance in the same sentence with Disney World at that time. I would not have.
And can you now?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't talk about it without using that word. So, yeah, that's really changed.
So we were going to stay there, and then they didn't have any reservation, or they didn't have any rooms available. Mm-hmm. So we ended up going to the Beach Club. They had one room left with a Murphy bed. I had no idea what a Murphy bed was at that time. Mm-hmm. But you want to tell them, at 8 months old, how was Emily treated when we got to the
Oh, well, that's I was just thinking about that when you mentioned all this because not only was I blown away going into the beach club and just the lobby, and we get to the room, and it was fantastic, and everybody was so nice. I mean, catering to your every need. I mean, completely. So I'm thinking, because we had been traveling with our daughter, that the staff was going to bring up a pack and play for her to sleep in.
Right.
And I'd probably have to clean it, for one thing. But that wasn't the case. They rolled in a full-sized silver crib with Disney bedding and a bumper guard around the crib. A little pillow inside there, which we didn't use because at that time we didn't have a pillow inside.
Right,
Remember, we didn't.
Yeah, she was too little for that.
Yeah, and just everything. Even down to just the folding the washcloths into the shapes of animals and putting little eyes on them, and just everyone saying hello as you walk down the hallway, and they greet your child with good morning, princess, or what do they say for the boys? I don't even remember. Just prince. I think sometimes they call them prince, or
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
or Star Ranger or whatever, whatever the case may be. But it was really the lap of luxury, which was shocking to me because I equated Walt Disney World with hustle and bustle, and I mean, I had someone say to me, "Where else can you go where they polish the trash cans?" I mean, and that says it all.
Right.
Really, right there.
Yeah.
So our first trip. We stayed at the beach club. We had our daughter. It was my first experience. So as my husband said, he was blowing cash like crazy. So in the years after that, we have gone to Disney many times, and we have learned to do it not so extravagantly. You can go to Disney on a very tight budget. If you have a little money to blow, always that's good too. But Disney can be done for families with kids, no matter what their age, and really whatever your budget is.
Well, and if you remember, when the kids were really young, I said, don't get used to staying at the beach club because once we have to pay for tickets for them, then all bets are off. And of course,
what is that situation now with the kids?
3 years old. They start, you have to get tickets for them at 3 years old. So the first 3 years, anyway, it was great because we just had Emily, and we were able to, the two of us, go into the parks and kind of do the parks as adults.
Right.
We kind of did the parks as adults, even though we had a baby. It was nice. If you remember, just walking around World Showcase, pushing her in the stroller, there was no rush. There was no, let's go ride this ride, let's hurry. We were able to take our time and look at the different shops and everything that Disney had to offer. We were able to just enjoy as adults.
Mm-hmm. That was nice.
Before the kids got old enough to say, come on, I want to ride this, I want to ride that. So, number one, we didn't have to pay for her. So
which is always nice.
There's that.
Right.
And she'd fall asleep in the stroller. So it was nice just being able to walk around and talk, the two of us, and take in the ambiance that is
and about the baby stroller. Now, we drove, so we had our stroller with us. But, a lot of people travel, by airplane. And, you think that you're going to get a crappy stroller or anything that's going to be, not what you would choose for your own child, but if you don't bring it, they have everything. You don't have to worry about anything. I mean, the strollers are fantastic, as good as anything that you would pick out, comfortable and large, and so you don't have to bring your own. The baby stations, remember, do they call them that, where areas where you can go in with your baby, they have baby food, diapers, an area if you're nursing, they have couches and private, of course, decorated, all Disney themed, everything is beautiful and clean. And you could spend an hour with your family just chilling out in the air conditioning, taking care of your baby, which...
That's the key word there, is air conditioning. So you're hot, you're tired, you've got a baby who's a little bit uncomfortable, a toddler that's not too happy with the fact that it's so hot outside, but you're not ready to go back to the room yet. You go over to one of their baby stations, which is they have one in each park. The one at the Magic Kingdom we went to a couple of times. It's over by the Crystal Palace, if you remember.
I do. And, I don't think too many people know about them because they were never crowded.
Never crowded.
I don't remember them being
never crowded. And they have anything that you need. With Emily teething, they had the Baby Oragel, which we had run out of.
Baby Tylenol.
And you go in there. And they were great about it. The costs are what you would pay at any drugstore. It wasn't like it was overly priced because it was Disney. And we were able to just go in there and just kind of kick back and relax a little bit and unwind. So they have that. I forgot all about the baby stations.
Yeah,
so
those are great. I was impressed with those.
Those are great.
So Emily being 9 months old, you would think, what is she going to get out of this? I mean, of course, Bob and I got a lot out of it because we're adults and we enjoyed it. But, just it being so colorful and the music. And, at that age, they're still watching things on TV. They're dancing. And she was doing that too. Bear in the Big Blue House was a big thing back then, right?
Probably when she turned about 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And she was starting to really enjoy that. And then, of course, we had our son by then, and he was a baby. And it was nice because, again, me being the cheap guy, as you all know, I don't like spending any more money than I need to. It was nice because we could go in. We were only paying for 2 tickets. And we were able to enjoy the kids experiencing the characters and the colors.
That was big, especially for the little ones. If they don't get anything else out of it, they love, the characters coming up to them. And
we have some fantastic video of Emily at the Land Pavilion where we had dinner, and Chip and Dale came up, and if you remember, Chip scared the heck out of her. And
yeah.
She threw herself across the table almost, and but it's fantastic video, and she's pulling
funny.
on
but then she warmed up to him.
whiskers.
She warmed up to him after that. She just didn't know what this big furry thing was doing standing next to her.
Right. So, and I don't think we would have ever gotten those experiences if we had waited until they were older. And so many people want to wait until the kids are 9, 10 years old. And as you know, having kids that are now teenagers, that magic leaves quickly.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. Don't wait too long. I mean, if you have toddlers, take them into the park. If you have, grade schoolers, that's the, perfect time for all of the little kid stuff, which there is plenty of things for them to do. And if you're worried about the expense and, my child's not going to remember all this, you don't have to do 5 days in the park. You could just get your feet wet with your little one, right? Maybe a day or two, you wouldn't have to dump, a whole vacation, a whole week's worth of going to the parks. But, don't be afraid to expose them at such a young age because it's fun.
And really, the older they get, they're going to miss out on some of the things that the younger kids get to do.
Right.
That the older kids can't because they're too big. Or they want to act a little too mature to do those things. Some of the playgrounds, some of the, like I know it's Tough to Be a Bug, that play area that they have.
They love that.
Used to be Honey, I Shrunk the kids' play area. Now I think it's Tough to Be a Bug play area. Our kids they would run around that all day long. And over at Splash Mountain, the one at Splash Mountain, they've got that little area over there. Now, we haven't been to the new Fantasyland yet.
No, I can't wait to see that.
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff over there.
And the resorts. There's lots of things for the kids to do at the resorts. And not just the pool either. Every resort has a play area. And
some of them have little water parks within themselves now. I know Tim and I had already talked about the Grand Floridian, and they have a water playground. It's not really a water park, but a water playground that's themed Alice in Wonderland, where they have the dumping bucket and the spray things and all of that stuff, and the stuff that, of course, Downtown Disney with the water jets that shoot.
Hysterical.
We spent hours with the kids over there.
But you know what one of my favorite activities is going through Disney World is in Epcot, when you can have your passport stamped and you can, do the different crafts at each of the countries. That's a nice day, especially for the little ones, grade schooler. That is a big deal to get that little passport in each country. You get a stamp and you can stop and do an activity, which gives the parents time to rest and look around. And you can, because they're sitting at a table. I mean, of course you have to supervise your children, but it's a good time for you guys to take a break and let them just do something fun and color. And the masks. I wonder if they're still doing the masks.
Well, I know that they have changed. They used to have the, I can't remember her name now. Anyway, it's now Agent P, which is, Agent P is Perry the Platypus from the Phineas and Ferb TV shows and movies. And where the kids now go around, They go see a cast member about the once you're in Epcot and you get the Agent P. It's almost like a cell phone kind of thing. It's or a tablet, and you go around and it tells you, it gives you clues to where you're supposed to go next. And every now and then, Agent P pops up out of crazy different places. So that's a fun thing for the younger kids to do, especially those that are love Phineas and Ferb.
Right.
Although our son still loves Phineas and Ferb at almost a teenager now.
Yeah, well, they're funny. I mean,
they're
funny.
Fantastic.
But yeah, there's a lot of stimulation for babies, toddlers. I mean, just a lot going on that they would just really, really enjoy.
Right.
Right. And they get a lot of napping in.
They get a lot of napping in. We get to enjoy ourselves as we are tonight, as we're doing this podcast, drinking our Merlot, which, hint, hint, Tim, you need to send some Merlot if we're going to have a better podcast. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, you talked about the resorts and the pools. A lot of the pools now, mostly the deluxe resorts, have pools that are the zero entry pools, which are great.
Oh, for wading, the little ones.
The little ones can just wade in there. The little toddlers can wade in there, and you're not so stressed that they're going to fall into a deep end or they're going to fall in off the edge into the pool. Staying at the beach club, of course, they have that little kiddie sandbar and play area,
which they love. It's like being on the beach. A lot of sand buckets around and all that. I have to admit, though, I had anxiety about taking a 9-month-old into Disney World, but it was really pleasant, and she had a great time. I'm surprised at how she reacted, and was really interested. I know she doesn't have any memories, but she sees the video from it, and it's hysterical. I mean, we had a great time.
It was fun for us because and I think that's what kind of helped you transition to becoming a Disney mom and a Disney fan, was because you were able to see through your children, watching them react to all of the stuff that's Disney and in the enjoyment that they got out of it. Even though, like you said, they don't really remember, they were able to really enjoy, or seem to enjoy anyway, everything, the characters, the colors, the fireworks, the pools. And we got enjoyment just watching them, especially, like I said, with Emily and the characters, and her initial reaction was like, whoa.
I have a confession. I have a confession to make, because that first trip, remember, I just wanted to get to the beach, and Disney was just a stop off along the way. I have to say, taking a toddler baby to the beach is 100 times more work.
Yes.
Than taking a child, a baby toddler
Absolutely.
to Disney World. And I was surprised by that, because my thought was, let's get to the beach so I can relax. Well, you know what? I was relaxing more taking her through Disney World than I did at the beach, know.
Right.
So
it's the
there's
pools
no fear.
Don't have sand in them. You're not getting sand everywhere, and as we know, a baby gets sand everywhere in that diaper, which is, I don't know how that happens.
I know.
But,
every crevice.
Yeah, and I'm not slamming the beach.
Oh no, I mean we've
been to the beach, and we've dealt with jellyfish and sharks. The last time we were at Cocoa Beach, we swam with a shark. Not intentionally.
Right.
It just came up. It's just a fun place to take kids, especially younger ones. And I've told everybody that I work with and anybody that ever asks me, I tell them, don't wait until they're too old to enjoy Disney. You can still go, but if they're too old,
they're going
to lose that magic.
Right. And that's a small window.
It's a very
you're talking,
small window.
Toddler to, say, 10.
Right. And let's face it, Disney is not, we live in Northeast Ohio, as many of you know. So Cedar Point is right up the street. Cedar Point has been rated the #1 roller coaster park in the country, maybe the world. They're always bringing out new roller coasters. And when they reach a certain age, Disney doesn't have that. Disney is not a roller coaster crazy. Right. They have the dark rides and the more relaxing.
Now they have plenty of things for teens, and that's another show.
That's another show, right?
But we're talking the little ones now. But Yeah, definitely. There's not, you're not going to get a speeding. Although I don't know. For me, I don't know. My idea of a speeding roller coaster and yours might be a little different.
Right,
but.
right. Yeah, I mean they do. They've got the Rock and Roller Coaster and Space Mountain and Hollywood Tower of Terror and all that. I mean they've got the thrill rides. It's not like Cedar Point that you got thrill rides at every.
Right.
Just about all of them are thrill rides. So you got that narrow window of opportunity where you're going to be able to take a kid to Disney World and have them truly enjoy it and feel that magic.
And
now,
believe that when Cinderella comes up to you, which they will. I mean, you can't not see a character. I mean, you will. You think, oh, it's going to be crowded. We're never going to get, but you will. You will get to a character, and when that child believes that that's Cinderella talking to them, or that's Snow White, or
but
whoever.
Full disclosure here, you still think
I know
that's Cinderella.
I do.
And you want to be Cinderella. So.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And with our kids, we've kind of turned them into Disney maniacs.
We have drilled it into their heads since the time they were born.
That might be. I might have had something to do with that. But now, even though they're teenagers, they know that going to Disney World isn't uncool.
Right. They love it. They look
so
forward
much to do.
it. Yeah.
Our daughter now, who, we ate in Cinderella's castle during one of our trips, and she loved that because she was in the castle and she felt like a princess, and all the princesses came around. Now, instead of Magic Kingdom maybe being her favorite place, she loves Epcot, where she can learn some stuff. Where she wants to go around all the
she feels like an adult
countries.
There.
Right.
She feels like she's really going around the world, and she likes that feeling.
So that'll wrap it up for this podcast. Hopefully, Mr. Tim has some fantastic research to give us the next time. No, and I'm glad he's taking his little hiatus. I hope you got some sleep and some rest, or whatever it is that you're doing. You can edit that out. Like I said, he's the brains behind it. I'm just riding the coattails. I've been saying this for years. I've been riding the coattails. So anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. I'd like to thank my lovely wife for helping us with this podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
We may have you back. I'm not sure. We'll see what the ratings are for this show. Well, since you live in the house, I think I'm going to have to. So anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
That went well.